Hi,
Okay.
Mary.
Hi.
What up?
I think the young people are gonna be like, "What did you say? What up?" that's like that's like it transited to WhatsApp at some point,
Yeah,
and now
yeah,
in reality, there's actually a WhatsApp
yeah. They stole the concept and made an app.
and made an app out of it.
That's innovation right there.
Yeah, and you know,
Yeah, so today we're doing measuring a powerful name, right?
yes.
As I always do, summary. We started with the importance of a powerful name. Then we proceeded to advantages of a powerful name. Then we talked about creating a powerful name, and if you create a powerful name, how to use a powerful name. If you have created a powerful name and are using a powerful name, then how do you keep increasing a powerful name? And one of the ways is to collaborate with a powerful name. And if you are collaborating, you may find yourself dominating with a powerful name. But somebody may still be asking the question where we are right now is someone may still be asking the question. Assume this is the book. Of course, this is the book in that order. But somebody may read to this point and be asking the question, how do I even know whether I have a powerful name? How do I even know whether someone has a powerful name? There are all kinds of names that are popular. Does popularity equate power? If somebody's name is famous, is that a powerful name? If somebody, how do I know what if somebody is doing some great things and their names are not known and stuff like that? So we want to address some of those perceived questions in the minds of the reader. How do you measure a powerful name? And of course, if you already have a powerful name, how do you keep measuring and evaluating yourself and stuffs like that? How do you measure your progress? How do you know whether you are stagnant or you are progressing or you whatever? So we want to talk about measurement. Measurement is very important in management, is very important in education, is very important in organizations. Is very any organization that does not measure or take time to evaluate is not going to grow. So we want to talk about assuming you already have a powerful name. How do we go about how do we measure that? And how do people even measure you to say you have a powerful name? Of course, people will always have divergent opinions about
Mm-hmm.
people's names. Maybe if I say, for instance, Dangote has a powerful name, maybe somebody may want to argue and say it's not true. Or if I say President Muhammadu Buhari has a powerful name, somebody may say, "Na name be that."
Say that
just,
name.
just saying.
It's
All
the way
right.
you
When you're ready, take it away, Mary.
Well, thank you so much. I love the way you've connected, um, one each of the chapters, how it's basically evolved. So it's very easy for anyone, even if I was listening to you now, I'd probably say, oh, okay. The sequence in which everything is laid out just kind of helps you to go from one step to the other and make a success of this entire process. One of the things that obviously I always like to start with the reason why that chapter even should exist, in terms of, you've mentioned it, it's very important in management to measure, because it's only when you measure something that you can basically have the capacity to know um, what has been achieved, if what was needed to be achieved has been achieved. And I guess also it also helps us to motivate ourselves to see what is left, what more is left, or what more can be done, which will take you back to increasing a powerful name. So by the time you measure, you can go back through the process and see how you can keep increasing the name. And of course, if the measurement is not what you want, you can also re-strategize on how to continue building your name, and see where you can go. And as usual, I would always take my first anecdote, or my first example from the scriptures, where I basically look at the fact that Jesus had. The Bible says that he went about doing good, and then also his name spread across the countries, across the land, and people knew him for doing good, the man that raised people from the dead. They knew him for all these things. But he turned around one day to his disciples and asked and said, who do people say I am?" And that is a very important question. Who do people say I am? All right. And of course, the disciples and the apostles went on to say, oh, some say you're a prophet, some say um, you're this, you're that. They gave the different examples, um, which, by the way, were all sort of good names. It wasn't like a bad name. But he didn't seem satisfied until I believe Peter said, "Oh, no, no." So then he then went ahead and say, "Oh, okay, okay, great. This is what the general public say I am. But who do you that are with me on a daily basis, who do you say that I am, or who do you know that I am?" And then that's when Peter answered and said, are you are the Son of God." And he said, you know, you couldn't have this revelation, and you had a deeper sense of revelation. And upon that revelation, the church is built. Upon the revelation of who Christ is the church built. Now, let me bring this home. So there are many things we can take from there. Number one, it is important to measure your name. Even Jesus measured his name. He asked the question, "Who do I say I am?" And there are levels of the knowledge of who you are, depending on the different levels of interaction with people. So there's the general popular understanding of who you are, which is basically understood by the way you put out yourself. So people will understand you in different ways. But there isn't a problem with that, or I'll come to that still. Now, the first people that need to really understand who you are the people that you're working with, which means, how well do they understand the vision? How well are they interpreting your your purpose and your existence and your vision? How well are the people closest to you, your business partners, your immediate circle of influence? How well do they really understand who you are? And how well do they appreciate what you are trying to achieve? Hey, there you go. Now I'm not talking to myself. I'm not talking to a black wall. um, so the first thing is understanding the people outside misunderstood Jesus, but that didn't matter. It mattered, but didn't matter in the sense that what mattered more to him was even the first line of influence, the people, the immediate people. So in measuring a powerful name, there's always the saying, um, a good man is a good man. There's I don't know how they put it, but basically there's that saying that says that a man can be all that he is, but ask his wife. That's when you know who he really is. You know, so you don't want to be popular out there for being awesome, but the people that your immediate influence, um, they don't see you as a powerful name. They don't see you as who you're projecting yourself as, um, because maybe not because you're a bad person, but they don't understand your vision. They don't understand where you're going. They don't understand your essence, your purpose. And that was important, because the moment that the disciples of Jesus or sorry, the apostles of Jesus understood, in the moment Peter said that and there was that clear understanding, it was on the basis of that understanding that the name that he was empowered, or rather, it was the understanding of that name that the entire church today is built on. So the power of your name is built on a revelation that must be understood by your first line of influence. It could be your children, it could be your immediate family members, it could be your business partners, it could be your employees. Your first. So that's the place to measure your name. If they get it right, then you have a foundation in which your name will spread even more. Because when you're not there tomorrow, there won't be a misunderstanding of your purpose, your vision, you understand, the things you were trying to build. It will carry on. Just like Jesus said, upon this revelation, upon this would I build my church. It is upon that understanding of you and your vision and your purpose and your essence that you can continue to build dynasty and legacy even after you're gone. Now, if there was a misunderstanding of who Jesus was, even by the apostles, they will not have carried out as much work as they carried out even after Jesus was gone. All right. So I'm using this metaphorically, again, not religiously, but metaphorically, using it to not necessarily only religiously. All right. So first way to measure your name is, what is your immediate circle saying about you? And just like I use that example, if your wife does not think you are a generous man, but your entire community think you're a generous man, you are not a generous man. You know what I mean? Like, because your legacy will die after which, you know, because there wouldn't be that, oh, my husband was a generous man, so I have to continue his legacy of generosity. It's going to be, well, he was generous to the people he wanted to be, but he was not generous to us. And for me, that's not, I'm just using this as an example. All right. Same goes to women as well. you know if your children don't see you as a loving mother, but you are a fantastic woman out there talking to the entire world, standing on the stage and being a massive influence to other young women, but your young daughter at home thinks you're a monster, you are a monster. I'm sorry. But yes, you have to correct that. So measuring your name starts from your immediate influence. So let me stop talking and let you talk.
No, it's a book. I mean, it's great what you have said. If I may, I will just add, not add, I will just to buttress this point that you have made. Of course, as they always say, charity begins at home.
Absolutely.
So today, I just this morning I finished reading a book. I don't know whether you have read it, by Ben Horowitz. It's titled "The Hard Thing About Hard Thing." uh,
Oh, interesting topic.
yeah, have you read that book?
No, I haven't.
All right. So the hard thing about hard things, with a subtitle "Building a Business Where There Are No Easy Answers." I will recommend that book to you as a business, as an entrepreneur, CEO. It's a very good book to read. So I just finished that, but the point is that he gave an anecdote that you know there was a time. Of course, he was the founder CEO of his company. He founded several companies, but in one of the early companies he founded, he was having a meeting with his some of his staff, and one of the staff, who was not even a management staff, a junior staff, raised a question that haunted Ben. If he were in Nigeria, I bet you he would have been fired, or even in some contexts, he would have been fired. But the question he raised was, I just want to know, when are we gonna have a real CEO? And and Ben was like, what do you mean? He said, no, I mean, when are we gonna have like a real genuine CEO that knows what he is doing, that is experienced, that has vision, that And Ben was like, what do you mean? I founded this company. I'm the founder CEO. And he said, it doesn't mean. I'm just asking the question. We need to have a genuine, real CEO that knows what he's doing and that knows. And Ben was like, that hit him real hard. The first thing, of course, in his mind was to fire this guy. What does it mean to even question? But he didn't do that. Of course, this gave him insomnia for a couple of months to come because every time he would just hear that conversation, when do we? So, in other words, this guy was telling him, in the first place, you are a fake CEO, you are not the real deal. You might have founded this company, but you don't even know anything about leadership, being a CEO. And he then confessed to the book that that question, that conversation was what really made his company to stand. Because after that, of course, it was a real hit, it hit him and what have you. But at the end of the day, upon introspection and reflection about his role as a CEO, he had to admit that he didn't know what it meant to be a CEO. And because of that, he now became very aggressive, if not anything, to prove to this guy, you know how men behave. If not anything, to prove to this guy that he knew what he was doing, because in the real sense, he was just like an imposter. Yes, he founded the company, but he didn't know anything about management, about leadership, about vision, about having these contacts that will scale the company and what have you. And at the end of the day, that was the real test that he needed. He needed that hard truth to be told to him, and this junior staff for some reasons was confident to just point it, and it didn't hit home well, but at the end of the day it happened. Of course, this was a company that was sold for more than $1 billion after several years, $1 billion. Another thing I wanted to say, still talking, you have given the anecdote of Jesus, which I think is very, very appropriate. And you have also given the anecdote of, your family members, which are very, very appropriate. I don't know whether you know Ray Dalio. Ray Dalio. Yeah. Ray Dalio is the author of the ginormous book, Principles. He is the founder and CEO, president, and whatever. Now he's retired. He has stepped down from this company, but he founded this company, Bridgewater Associates, which is like the major hedge fund in the world. I don't know whether anyone has.
I've watched this video.
Oh, okay, all right. So in his book that is this thick, it's called Principles. It's one of the books I would really recommend to you because there is something that he propounded, this thing, this principle in running organizations called, something meritocracy. So let me just so that I get it. About meritocracy, which is a very, very crazy way of doing business. Many people living here in the States and other places are very skeptical about his principles, the way he runs his organization. But what is the idea meritocracy? According to Ray Dalio, it is that there is no secret in the company. They have this principle that all their meetings are recorded. All their meetings, even if they are doing management staff meetings, they are recorded and broadcast to all the people in the organization. So there are no even questions. Everybody knows what everybody is saying. You don't even have to be suspicious. What are the top management staff thinking? What are they talking about? It's like, is this very plain? It's a very scary way of doing business. It's very plain way. And there is also in that idea meritocracy, every member of the organization that works in that company, whether they are cleaners, janitors, management, what have you, everybody is given the same right to say the hard truth without repercussions.
Yeah.
Anybody
Wow.
can say the hard truth without repercussions. It's a
Without,
yeah,
wow,
without being haunted for it.
being
So
fun.
anyone, so he has given, if you read that, it's a crazy idea. When you read the book and you read this idea, you just start freaking out. If you are a founder of a company, will be like, am I insane? But it has legitimacy in the sense that we're talking about measuring or measurement, measuring a powerful name. He gives everyone from the management staff to the least person in the company the same platform to say what is in their mind.
Whatever they want.
It doesn't mean that by just saying the thing, of course, we'll rush into getting it, of course, but he just wants to hear all the hard truths. And he has confessed very painful experiences. He said there was this time in the company when they were having a meeting, and this lady, I don't know whether she wasn't even a management staff, and she was newly employed,
Mm.
and they were having a conversation talking about something. He said if you come to their meetings, you may think they are fighting. Right, they were having it because of that plain level thing.
Yeah.
Anybody just say your mind just the way it is, and just say what you think about the company, say about whatever you think about the CEO, whatever you think about your
Your
oga
superior.
or superior, just say it the way it is, don't negotiate it, because by doing that they have been able to take away gossips and all those
Yeah.
kinds of things. So but he gave several examples. I will tell you two. One of the situations was this lady that was newly employed in the company, and she by every means will say is somebody that did not even know the company, so to speak. But they were having a meeting, and Ray Dalio was talking about something that he wanted done, and she said, I totally disagree. In fact, that is like BS. That is a BS idea." you know. And he had to like, he was taken
Adjust himself.
aback. He was like, "Who is this talking
Yes.
to me with this audacity?" But he had to quickly remember, oh, that's the principle of the company. It's not personal. She just said one, and she said her idea, and things like that. And he said there was also one time. Okay, let me not confuse this, because I wanted to also, maybe I should just mention this. So this is not Ray Dalio. This is Richard Branson.
Okay.
Richard Branson, the losing your virginity guy.
Yeah.
So Richard Branson was the one that also, if you read losing
Mm.
your virginity, or losing
Yeah,
my
it is losing.
virginity, that book, he gave an anecdote in that book also of a situation where he also had this, or let's be very transparent, but there was a time that two of his management staff that were his friends and also his co-founders took him. They
Mm.
said, let them go for a walk, and they started telling him some hard truths. They said he needed to resign from the company because, as far as they are concerned, he doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't have any vision. He's just a freak. Like, they were like friends talking hard truths to each other. And he said he felt really hurt, but that was the game changer for him. There were certain things he was taking, he was being careless about. So anyway, we can go on and on with these anecdotes, but I think it's just a powerful thing to just have some time to pause. And you need to have, if you have a powerful name or you want to build one, you must have people in your circle that will look you in the eye and tell you the hard
Tell
truth.
you
It
exactly.
doesn't mean you want to hear it, right?
Yeah.
Most times you don't want to hear the hard truths, but you have to have at least one or two people in your cycle that will look you in the eye and just say it to you in an unbridled manner, uncensored manner. Just say it the way they see it. Because many times we rally people around us that will just be psychophantic, just telling us the things that we want to hear. Oh, you are the
We
greatest
ourselves
CEO.
are blocking them from, so they have to try to find different ways and parables and stuff. I think that the reason why things have to be said hard is, it's like if you're trying to get through a door that doesn't have a lock. that doesn't have a that is locked. You understand? So you're going to have to break through it. But if you have a door that is open, you just kind of open and ease in. So sometimes, like sometimes even when we're talking, my husband says something. I said, "Look, listen, I know you want to do this, but you know what? Oh, jeez. Sorry, I think a call was coming through.
I think your husband's people don't want you to share that story. His village people.
These village people they don't want me to talk. Like sometimes he has to say things and he's a bit harsh, and I say no. To me, I feel you say first. All right. If somebody is receptive and you say something to the person, like this is what I practice with my children, right? I I tell myself there is a difference between and this might be pushing to another topic kind of, but I mean you still get the idea. I tell myself there is we as parents have our own ego because we are older, do you understand? And we are more knowledgeable, and sometimes we over expect from the kid, all right? So what I find myself doing a lot, especially to my son, if I give him an instruction, I mean, when I say an instruction, like I say, stop that, it's time to sleep, or drop, um, drop that computer, or stop watching the computer, and I tell him the reason, why he needs to stop it, because he's going to school tomorrow and you have to go to bed on time so you can wake up feeling refreshed. I always give him the reason for anything. I don't just give commands for command's sake, because I want him to learn to reason out things for himself, so he gets to do things right without being told, because he can reason out the reason why he should do that thing. But what I do is immediately I say to him, I give him time to do it. I don't, a lot of, I see a lot of parents like, you didn't hear me? Didn't you hear me? You got to do it because I said it. Because, no, no. I think that is where your ego is getting in. When you talk to a human being, allow the human being to reason, all right? He will have a reflective moment. He'll reason that what you're saying is right, right? Or he'll reason that he should be obedient. Whatever reasoning gets into his brain at that point, whichever he yields to, then he can quickly make that decision. So I would find that he would take maybe a little bit more time. He'll take a second, he'll take two, he won't just maybe move immediately. Sometimes he will move immediately, but other times he might take a little bit to move. But the point is, he eventually does it. So yes, it trains him to be a little bit, to be an open-minded person, to receive instructions. You understand? But but other times we are not receptive, we're not open-minded. So you have to get that hard knock in your brain. They have to shake you up with one response that like kind of wakes you up, and you're like, okay, what did you just say? Yes, I said that. Like, when are we going to get a good CEO, or when are we going to get someone that knows what he's doing? You know, it's like it's like when you go to. I've been to the doctor before, and then I asked the doctor when the doctor is gonna come. I don't know if it's ever happened to you when you
I
go
mean,
into the hospital.
it has even happened to me directly that, in fact, I still remember. So this is like 13 years or whatever years ago. I was in a graduate school and we were sitting for this
Mhm.
new semester, new professor that we've never heard of that was going to teach us this course. So we all had our ideas of who this professor or how a professor was supposed to look like. And
Yeah.
we are sitting in the class, and there was this guy that also sat with us, and we just started talking, and it was 10 minutes past, and we didn't see the professor, and we're like, who is even this professor? Oh, this school, they would just be bringing all kinds of
All kinds of
professors.
weird people.
We don't understand, who is even this professor? Who is he? We are just like making all kinds of jabs and all kinds of things about it. about the whole thing. Does anybody know who this professor is? Who is this guy? We're just like,
Yeah.
do you know? We even look at that guy and we're like, do you know who this professor is? He was like, I have no idea. And so after some time, having said all kinds of things that we could say, we could mutter, this guy stood that was sitting by my right. That was all through the conversation. He stood up and went to the
To the board.
board and he was like, well, good afternoon, class. Of course, we burst into laughter because we are like, look at, come and sit down, my
Come and
friend.
sit down, my friend. You're
And
a
he was
student like
like,
us.
my name is this. And we are laughing. And he was like, for real, he brought out the course outline and started distributing. And we are like, oh my God, what in the world?
I'm finished.
He didn't look,
Graduate
he looked just like us. He looked like a graduate student. He looked just
student.
like, I mean, and that was a big trick. And I've also had situations that I went to certain places. I was
Yeah.
supposed to either preach or deliver a lecture or
And you're looking
invited
for
for
the preacher.
something. And yeah, people, not that I was badly dressed or anything, but
Yeah. But the
because
expectations
of
just
my,
basically
yeah, the expectations. In fact,
different.
let me give you a practical anecdote that you may know. Do you know this church called Family Worship Center in Abuja?
In Abuja, no. Family
Okay.
worship.
Yeah, so it's one
Is
of the
it by a woman?
yes, Sarah
Yes,
Omako.
yes. Yes, yes, I know.
All right, so I was once invited to that church to give a lecture to do training for their pastors, right?
Okay.
To do a series of 2 months training for their pastors, and which the senior pastor Sarah Omako was supposed to be part of the training, but she didn't
Okay.
know me. She only heard my name. I was doing
Okay.
this and that. So we went, I and my other professor, and we were there. And by the time we arrived, she knew the other professor. She didn't know me. So when we went to teach, we were sitting in the class. Everyone was there. The pastor was there, and when the other professor stood up to introduce me, she was like, where is Pastor Seth that you've been talking? Where is the other professor that you've been talking about that will come? I only see you with your son. Where is the other guy? And he laughed and he said, "This is it." And she
It
looked at
is.
him and she said, "Do you know what she said to him?
What did she say?
You take us for a joke."
Are
She
you
was
serious?
like, on a serious, she's a frank, a very frank
Yes,
lady.
she is. She
Yeah,
is.
she was like, "Do you take us for a joke? Do you think we are doing this for a joke?
Yeah.
Where is the professor?" And he said he couldn't control his laughter. He said, "Seriously, this is the guy." And I was just laughing because that was my first time of meeting her. I laughed, and she was angry. She became very angry a little bit. Then he did his teaching, and he said, "Well, when we come back in the afternoon, this professor, my colleague, is going to take over."
Let's see. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. I think a call came through and I'm trying to. I
I
think
thought
my battery is running low.
I thought it was a partial rupture.
Virtual raptor. Ah, I'm just worried about my battery right now.
Uh-oh. Yeah,
But
anyway,
let's
at the end of that encounter, when my professor said I was gonna come and teach in the afternoon, she wasn't happy. Everyone was not happy. They were like, be serious. I was the youngest, I'm talking
Yeah.
about as far back as 2012. That was
Oh wow.
nine
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
And I was,
So I can
everyone there
imagine.
was an executive and big guys. And
Mm-hmm.
anyway, so when I came in the afternoon and
Mm.
started teaching, you could see when I went to the podium, you could see disdain. But when I started talking, all of a sudden, everybody's countenance
Just
changed
changed. Yeah.
and they sat up. When I went halfway to my teaching, Pastor Sarah could not, by the way, I will edit all this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we could not contain it, but interrupt my teaching. She
Wow.
stood up. She was like, I still remember what she said exactly. She said, the big is in the small.
Yeah. Like that.
She was like, the big, what was I talking about moments ago? You are the greatest. By the way, I have her number now. We talk very well.
Yeah.
We have this great relationship that just single-handedly sponsored my wedding. Anyways, let's not go
Yeah.
into all those other stuffs, but I became a favorite and stuffs like that.
Of
But
the
yeah,
entire person.
those type of
Yeah.
things happen that sometimes you look at people and just measure them, just like
Yeah.
the example you gave. Who do people say I am? And
I am.
people will
Yeah.
say he's just an Elijah. Oh, he's just this one of the
Exactly.
prophets. The guys that were saying he was one of the prophets were even like, that is like disparaging him. He's
That's just to
nameless. It was a way
yeah.
of saying he's nameless. Who
Yeah.
knows him? He's just one of
Yeah.
those
It's one of the because
troublesome.
it didn't even say he's like Elijah, like because there are places in the Bible where they say, "Who is this guy?" He said, "You don't know him? That's
Mhm,
Elijah."
mhm,
So
yeah.
even Elijah had so like we're saying, in measuring a name, it's most important that the people closest to you really understand your vision, your purpose, because on the foundation of that understanding, your legacy is built, and there is a continuation and there is an increase to your name, because they would always be the ones to help you to propagate and push your vision and plans. And just like you mentioned, if you're whether it's your employees or whatever. Now there was something you said, popularity. Is popularity a measurement? Well, I think it can be, but can be. It depends. The first thing first is, if that popularity, so I would use the same anecdote I just used about Jesus. There was the popularity, people knew him, so there wasn't a case like, oh, I don't know, we don't know who you're talking about. People knew him, but the measurement of what they knew about him did not correlate with what he was.
Mhm.
So if your popularity is not, it does not correlate with your goal, your vision, the intention of what you want your name to be known as, then you either have to do a redirection or you have to do a reevaluation of that and push forward. Eventually, when Jesus eventually died, the people now said, truly, this man was the Son of God. So eventually, when you keep at it, people will realign your popularity will realign with your goal and your vision and your focus in life, and you will be known for what you have, for your purpose in life, for what you have identified as your purpose in life, of which you have now manifested or are manifesting. All right. So those are the ways to measure your name. That's one, in terms of measure it by the immediate people. You can measure it by the larger population, but you might find that it does not align. But keep at it, and then you keep realigning it to what it is that you truly want people to know you for. All right.
Let,
Um.
let me say something
Yeah.
something a little
Yes,
bit
please.
quick about the last point you made. This issue of popularity and it matching what you stand for. There is something that happens that kind of beclouds people's minds. and
Yeah.
sometimes people it's hard to explain. I think to some extent I've done a little bit of research about it, and I think to some extent I have the answer, or I have an idea of what is
Yeah.
happening,
Yeah.
and it corresponds to what we're talking about right now. And that thing is, why do famous, powerful, popular people commit suicide? Because ordinarily you would think that if somebody is a
It's famous. Yeah.
famous musician, he has the million dollars, he is known, I mean, he's always on the spotlight. If he has the name, a powerful name,
Why
then
is it?
everything should be fine. There seems to be, when you see those type of things happening, is what we are talking about here, because those people may have a powerful name, a popular name, may be so famous, they may be Grammy Award winners or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, Oscars or whatever field they are,
Mm-hmm.
and still know within themselves that they are not being truthful to their purpose,
Yeah.
right? Then
Yeah.
there is frustration. That is why most of them go
Yeah.
into drugs. They go
Yeah.
into drugs because they are frustrated. Paparazzi, they hate, the media because
Yeah.
they hate to be interviewed. They become angry, they go into
Yeah.
drugs, they go
Yeah.
into sex and all these other things
Yeah.
that do not satisfy them, and at the end of the day they just feel there is no purpose in their lives, and they
Yeah.
kill themselves. And
Yeah.
especially in the West, you see a lot of that. You see very popular, famous people that have achieved great things committing suicide, especially in the music and entertainment industry, is
Yeah.
very common. And I think it's because of this lack of alignment or realignment to purpose.
With purpose.
So with purpose. So it's not just enough for you to have a name, a powerful name for that matter. You have to constantly ask yourself whether the name corresponds to your purpose
With
or
purpose. Yeah.
correlates with your purpose, just as we said. And if it doesn't, you can change it,
Yeah.
right? I have seen people that there are all kinds of stories of people that became very famous in their field. They did
It
great
just
things,
stopped. Yeah.
and they still didn't find the satisfaction because their name and their purpose were misaligned.
Yeah.
They decided to just, like as we say in Nigeria, to just ditch that and pursue something that people consider lesser, but they were happy, right? So I think this point you have made is very important. That it's good to have a name. It's good to have a powerful name. Of course, we talked about all the advantages of a powerful name and all those great things. But the measurement is also very, very important, because if you don't constantly have this introspection and also
Yeah.
become vulnerable to others to tell you the
To
hard truths,
exactly.
you don't want to end up in this type of situation that you have the name, you have the fame, you have the money, you have the popularity, but you are a frustrated dude
Yeah.
or lady or whatever.
And that just tells you why it's very important to check, because you don't want the popularity to be, you don't want people to push you to where you don't want to go. um Example, you don't want people, because when you start to grow your name or grow your influence, different opportunities could come to you, and sometimes those opportunities could make you waver, can take you away from your focus. So when you measure back and you're able to say, I mean, in all, and I really like the story of Jesus, because in all, when his disciples were obviously not afraid to tell him what people thought about him. All right. So that means he was someone that was receptive. So immediately they said to him, "Oh, they think you're a prophet. They think you are this. You think you're that." He could very well have said, "Oh, I'm all of that, plus, But he stayed focused on the one reason why he came, on the one reason why he is who he is, which was not even to be a miracle worker, not even to be a blind eye a blind eye opener, but to save the world, to be the savior. So that was his focus. And he stayed focused on that. And he didn't look at the people around him. He didn't look at the people around him. focus. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, you know what you said about the village people.
Whether they like it or not, this book will be written.
This book, I'm telling you. When I see, I mean, this could be edited, but basically, when we started this project, and I will always blame you for this book because you got me. You made it seem easy. So, but whenever I see um all the whenever I realize that when we're supposed to speak, there's one issue, there's something that's only, I know there's something about there's something about it.
Yeah.
There's always something about when you start to see what do you call that, what obstructions and
Obstacles,
things coming,
challenges,
challenges, and then you
they
know
are
that
proof. They are a proof
yeah,
that
yeah,
you are pursuing a worthy
that you're
cause.
yeah, that you're about to birth something. And that's why I said I don't care, I'm makeup and I'm just gonna come out here in my drains with no strength, but at least I will get the strength to speak up.
In fact, if you are doing something, this is a deviation. But if you are doing something and everything seems, I usually tell some of my staff, some of the people that work for me, if you're doing something and everything is just going smoothly over time and no challenges, it's time for you to pause
To
and
stop.
like, what am I doing? Nobody is
You need to start looking
criticizing.
for the witchcraft and the wizard.
Yeah,
Where are
no,
they? Are
nobody
they
is
sleeping?
hating. That means that even the devil is like, forget
It's
about
like
this.
there is
Uh,
jokers.
it's a joke. We are not gonna, if the devil and the demons say we are not gonna waste, they don't count
Waste
your
our
cause
time.
worthy to waste
Yes,
their
to
time. I
waste
mean, you are
our
into a terrible pursuit.
you're in trouble. Oh my god. Oh well, it's part of it. So yeah, so measuring a name, first stop from your inner circle, understand, and I think the most important thing we've said in measuring a name is realigning. Align your name with the goal, and that goal was supposed to be already aligned with purpose. I'm not
And
sure we talked
I think we talked about it
we
from
talked
the
about
beginning of the
from the
book
beginning.
that
Yes.
you have to first have a desire. In having a desire, you have a purpose.
Purpose, yeah.
And just
Must
as
be a
you pointed
purpose.
out, sometimes you may have that noble desire, that noble cause,
Hmm.
but along the way, you become popular.
It
People now
distract you.
want to use you, right? They
Yeah,
want to use your name.
absolutely. Yeah.
And just like, and I think, sorry to say, this may be, I know there are all kinds of controversies about this. Um, Anytime I think about Michael Jackson, I just
Oh
feel
my god.
that was what happened
That
to
is
him.
it. That is a perfect example of what we're talking about. He was pulled away from what was in it to him. His soul was dead. He
Mhm,
felt that there is no need for me to live. Like he was
mhm.
living, and that's why people say he was living someone else's life. You hear those kind of things like you're living someone else's life because if you're not connected with purpose, there is no desire to live. There is absolute, and that brings me to the point which I was going to say, because somebody might be asking, is having lots of money a measurement? All right, and I'm going to answer this in twofold: yes and no. Yes, in the sense that um like we said yesterday, which I talked about. I said that I like what Simon Sinek said, that money is the fuel that is required for the vehicle called business. All right, but the vehicle called business is not made for fuel. It is made for, getting you to a destination. All right. So business is for getting you to a destination of impact. So it's understanding what is my own impact? What is that thing that I'm supposed to do? And the moment you understand that, you do need fuel for that vehicle to keep moving. All right. So that's to clear where money is important. So you should measure influence to a certain level with the understanding of what I just said, how money basically impacts. But
There are many frustrated billionaires and millionaires in
yes,
the world.
but but remember, money is not the problem. Money is the fuel that takes you to the destination. The
Just a tool.
problem is you have missed the road. You don't know where the destination is, or you have taken the wrong turn, or so you have the fuel. You have a fueled vehicle. You have you have your car full tank. All right, you have a full tank that can take you anywhere, but now lost your way. You don't know where you're going, or you don't even know you've taken a wrong turn. All right, so now money now doesn't become the problem. Yes, you measure. Okay, I need to, because I need to go to this direction. I need to make such and such impact. If I want to feed 1 billion children, and my budget is $1, I need 1 billion, right? So $1 billion is what I need. So I can evaluate each step of the way. Do I have 1 billion? Okay, now I have 500 million, or I need 500 million more. Exactly. That's it. That's the fuel. That's the thing that is energizing the impact. That is going to make the impact happen. So you can measure by that. But always understand that money by itself is nothing. You need to know the purpose, the impact you want to make, the place you're going, right? This vehicle called your business, called your name, is taking you to, all right? And then always measure alongside that, all right? Because you see, and I know, Seth, you really tried to get me not to write a religious book, but that's not the point. It is my understanding, and I'll put it that way. It is my understanding from the scripture that God never gives us enough. He gives us more than enough. He never gives us enough. He gives us more than enough. So even for the journey that we are going, we always are going to have more than enough. More than enough. All right. So being a billionaire, millionaire, whatever near, is not the issue, and it's not whatever near that you determine to yourself. It's okay. It's good. It's fantastic. All right. If you need, maybe you were aiming to be a millionaire, you end up being a billionaire. That's the abundance that God we're talking about. All right. That's the abundance that we're talking about. But that's why it can't even be the measurement, because if you're living a life of abundance, you're always going to have more than your name probably can carry. Mm-hmm. All right. Now, so coming back to what we're talking about, the measurement is important when you really understand where your destination is, how you're connected to that destination, how you're aligned with purpose, and yeah. So measuring your name against purpose and realigning it to the goals that have been set is what is important.
Yeah, if I may comment on that, I think that this discussion, this chapter is very important at a very great extent, because, somebody may look at this book and just think it's a fantasy book. No, it's we're talking about real facts here and real life situations. And this question, of course, of is money the ultimate? Money should not be an end in itself. Money is just a means to an end. We are not on the one hand. I love the way you kind of struck the balance. We are not on the one hand saying money is not important. Money is a very important tool,
important,
right? But don't make money the ultimate, right? Because you can have money and still end up a very frustrated person, right?
Absolutely.
One of the richest men that has ever lived in the world, richest and powerful, reflecting back about his life, he wrote and said, everything is meaningless, everything, meaning vanity upon vanity. This guy had 1,000 wives. He was so powerful, popular, and everything.
because he lost purpose.
Mm-hmm.
He
Mm-hmm.
missed it. He missed at the there was a point where all his focus was, Lord, you gave me this people, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a young man.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure he reflected on his father David and thought that guy was just that guy was awesome. I
Mm-hmm.
can't even fit his shoe 1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
So when God asked him, uh, "What do you want?" He said, "Man, I I just want to be able to rule this amazing, powerful people that you've given me." And at some point, that was all his focus.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment he had the wisdom and started having the powerful name, because the Bible says that God made his name powerful after he gave him the wisdom.
In fact,
As
more powerful than
than
anyone that has ever lived
forever.
before him. Mhm.
Yes,
And there
it's
will
actually
never be
written there
anyone like
forever
him.
that there will never be anyone like him. So, and when the Bible says that, that means it will never happen. God has already put a plug, a stopper there. All right. I mean, like he knew that somebody's going to mess it up anyway. It's like if I try this twice, I might be in trouble the second time. Let me just plug it in here, you know? Because if it was in today's world, probably it would be the 5,000 wives in
Mhm.
different countries. You know, so the moment Solomon missed his road, and that's what we said, the moment you start to have this powerful name, watch out, it's going to be bound. I think we should have a chapter for, for kind of realigning yourself back to purpose, because you will always have the temptation of, you would always be pulled aside. He was pulled aside by women with many gods, and he left God, and he left God. And the moment he left his purpose, his essence, he lost the enjoyment of, that enjoyment of the money and everything. And then that's when he started saying vanity. And now people are quoting him as vanity. I say, Solomon, give it to me, and you will know that it's not vanity. Nonsense. After
That's
you have
right.
finished chopping it,
That's
you now come and say it's vanity. Which vanity? It's vanity to you. You followed 1,000 women with different gods. Give it to me. I'll stick by one God, and we'll know whether it's vanity.
it's people that don't have the privilege that usually call other people's stuff vanity. And this is a very interesting conversation. I think about people like Nelson Mandela.
Yeah.
Till the world ends, that's a
Yes.
powerful name that you can't
That is,
erase.
I'm telling you.
Mother Teresa, Martin Luther King Jr., right? Think about I will just be talking until Mary comes back. Think about all these things, all these people. I mentioned Nelson Mandela. I mentioned Mother Teresa, Martin Luther King Jr. Those guys had very powerful names, right? It's undeniable. But I don't know that they were millionaires or billionaires, but they have powerful names because they pursued purpose. All right. Yeah, I'll just wait for Mary to come back.
Hi, I'm back.
You made it back?
I made it back.
All right.
Oh, sorry. It's the power of my phone went off.
Uh-oh. Yeah,
Yes.
if you
So
have other points, I think we have talked
wait,
quite a
wait.
bit about some of the things, but if you have
Yeah.
other points, exhaust them and
I think we've exhausted. I just thought we didn't wrap up properly. So
all right. I mean, when you went off, because I wasn't sure whether you come back, I just gave like
okay.
a
So
concluding remark. I was like, I'm gonna just talk well when Mary is away, and I just said a few words. Yeah.
okay. Okay.
But if
That's
you
fine.
still have certain things that you've written down that you didn't mention, you can just.
Well, I think we've talked about the money part. So I think that's really it. I mean,
Okay.
there are generally other ways that you can measure power of your name, which is based on set goals. Yeah, yeah, which might be a little bit more specific, and then that specificness may not be general, maybe specific to different people's purpose and everything. But the main thing is just ensuring that the name is aligned with the goal. Um, Aligned with your goal, and your goal is aligned with your purpose. Okay, so the moment you find that there's a shift in the understanding of your name, um, then you'd be building a powerful name. That okay, I mean, think about I was going to mention I mean, there's so many examples of powerful names that went the wrong way. And it was not because they didn't build a powerful name, but they were not able to keep it because they were not aligned with purpose. So Whitney Houston is one of it. Even her daughter, the, and I think even in this entire book, we can't emphasize there is building a powerful name and there is having a powerful name, keeping it, keeping it, making it a legacy. All right, making it a legacy is a different. It's keeping it
By the way,
through
that's
time.
don't jump to chapter 9,
Yes,
not
I
too
know that's
fast.
chapter 9. I know.
Chapter 9, we're talking about maintaining a powerful
A
name.
powerful
Having
name.
said measuring, then how do we
How do
maintain
we
it?
maintain it?
So we're
Yeah.
gonna talk about that next time
Yes,
about
yes, yes. I mean,
maintaining.
it's just I think the next steps are always so logical. So even the conversations kind of already want
Mhm.
to push
Yeah,
me
it's a
there.
good
But
sequence. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So yeah, so I think that's it for me in
All
terms
right.
of yeah. If you want
Yeah,
to
we
add
can go
some,
off anytime you want to go off. If you have one or two
ready?
things to talk
Ready?
about, then
That's fine. That's fine.